Hi guys, I'm Kristin and you're watching an episode of Digital Nomad TV, which is my weekly show with tips and advice for aspiring, current, and even expert veteran digital nomads. I've been a nomad myself for over a decade and have helped hundreds and thousands of people move to foreign countries in the past 7 years alone, and I've been working in this capacity for about the past 12 or 13 years. So I've seen a lot of the highs and lows of the digital nomad lifestyle, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to avoid the lows. So this is relevant whether you are just planning your journey or you're starting out or you've been doing this for many years. This is something that relates to everybody regardless of what your experience level is with a location-independent lifestyle. The good news is that humans have been nomadic for millennia, for thousands, millions of years, since the beginning of humanity. So the only new thing we have is the digital part. So humans are always nomadic, tribal people, and now we have the digital part. There's a lot of issues in modern day life that people deal with around the world regardless. Physical problems from sitting at a desk all day, mental health issues, addictions to substances, cell phones, devices, all sorts of things. Health issues from processed food, alcohol, and just overdoing it in general, stress, you name it. We all know the problems with modern day life. And so a lot of people think that if they become a digital nomad, they can escape that, or that by traveling to some foreign place and working for themselves, that all of their problems would be solved. And it can in a way, but in another aspect, nothing could be further from the truth. Of course, working for yourself and being able to travel and have freedom is extremely fulfilling, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. However, it can also exacerbate the problems that you might already have in your life at home. Let's call it the standard modern day life, or the standard American life especially. So because being a digital nomad is so new, there's not enough of a structure in place to help people cope with these things. There isn't enough anyway. It's even more magnified when you are traveling around the world, supporting yourself, living by yourself, running a business, and doing all of these other things, dealing with foreign cultures, and just the stresses of travel and being ungrounded. So all of that aside, the number one reason why people are unable to sustain this lifestyle is due to lack of funds. So you need to have money to be able to travel and live around the world. Sure, you can have a low cost of living, but the responsible, sustainable way to be a digital nomad is to make sure you have enough savings up front and make sure that you have a consistent income stream or source of revenue before you leave your home. If you're going to be traveling. I've relocated thousands of people, and I've seen people show up to a foreign country with enough money to last them 2 weeks, and they just hope that they make it and get a job or something in the first couple weeks, or win a big tournament online, or whatever the case may be. And then they have other people who have overly prepared and saved for a year or more, and there's really no exact amount that you have to have, but I think it's smart to have at least 3 or 6 months or more of your living expenses saved up so that you can spend time on your business without worrying about how you're going to eat. So I've also polled hundreds of my clients who have been doing this for 5, 10, 15 years, and the number one reason that they suggested that their friends and colleagues failed was due to running out of money. So make sure you have some cash. The second is cultural differences and inflexibility on that level. This is something that is very commonly overlooked, but before being a digital nomad was a thing, there were expats. So expatriates are people who live outside of their home country, live and work outside of their home country. Multinationals would relocate their employees all over the world. They still do. It's called global mobility. And they actually have an entire industry and career around helping these people integrate with life in a new country and be able to do their job effectively. So companies could spend tens of thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars just to relocate one executive, for example. And that typically comes with cultural training and a lot of support. Digital nomads typically leave home without even thinking twice, and they don't have that sort of training. They're just basically trying to figure it out on their own. So there's a very big disparity between what individual nomads tend to do and what multinational companies do to ensure that their employees succeed. So try to find a happy medium where you're educating yourself on the places that you're going to be, especially if you're going to be getting residency or changing your tax domicile or running a business in another country. You need to deal with red tape, language barriers, things like that, but also just being flexible on a day-to-day level is going to be really helpful for you. So even if you don't have formal training in that, try to keep that in perspective and integrate that some way, and don't just take it for granted and with a grain of salt that you'll figure it out as you go, because that is one of the most commonly reported reasons why digital nomads can't hack it long term. The third reason that I think people give up in this lifestyle is loneliness, a pervasive, very isolating feeling of loneliness where you literally and figuratively feel like you're alone in the world, because you typically physically are, especially if you're traveling by yourself and working by yourself. This aspect of being a digital nomad, I don't think has been completely solved. It's something that is going to be a challenge in some way, shape, or form to a degree, no matter what. But loneliness is also a challenge when you're not a digital nomad. So you don't necessarily have to be by yourself to feel lonely. You could feel lonely in a relationship, in a marriage, in a job, in your hometown. You can feel lonely with roommates. You can just feel lonely in life in general. So again, loneliness can be magnified and exacerbated when you become a digital nomad, because you are physically more alone most of the time. So I do see a lot of people overcompensate for this by traveling in groups where they tend to lose themselves over time. Their business may suffer because they're spending more time trying to have fun and not be lonely versus focusing on their work. And this is something that each person just needs to find a balance with. And some people have different personalities that are more introverted, some are more extroverted, but you need to find what works for you and think about the long-term game, not if you're feeling lonely just on one day or 1 week or 1 month. You need to think about, how are you going to cope with this for years to come, should you want to continue in this lifestyle. There are a lot of ways to meet people online and in real life, and you just need to be honest with yourself and admit when you find your tribe or when you find people that you're not really getting along with. So while it can be really easy to meet people while you're traveling, it's also hard to say goodbye. And this is something that I've had to do, again, over 15 years, so I know how it feels. But on the plus side, you can end up making lifelong friendships, partnerships, and relationships with people all around the world. And the last reason that I think most digital nomads fail is because they have a lack of clarity. So if you don't know why you're doing this, where you're going, you'll never know when you get there. And a lot of people are just looking at the short term, and they're using fear or unhappiness to motivate their transition into this lifestyle, and that's only going to get you so far. So you might see a lot of examples online of people who came into the lifestyle with a lot of enthusiasm and then ran out of steam like a year in or 2 years in. And so if you want to think about the long-term aspects of this lifestyle, you need to know what's important for you, what type of lifestyle you want to have, what you want your day-to-day to be like, and how you're going to deal with things that come up. So I talk about this in another video on the main reasons why digital nomads succeed, and I map out like a step-by-step action plan that you can take on either a daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly, even yearly basis to just kind of keep yourself on track and keep yourself centered, especially when you're in a lot of different locations. So I also have a list here from a poll that I did with some of my friends, clients, and colleagues, and I asked the people who had the most experience, at least 5 or 10 years of experience living abroad, what were some of the reasons that they felt they struggled, or what were some of the things that they observed in other people as to why they failed and had to move home against their wishes. And some of the quotes from this poll were: taking the leap or buying a ticket without a plan, too much emphasis on travel, not enough emphasis on working, too influenced by others, lack of preparation, lack of a budget or tracking expenses. I know a few people who've been doing, actually myself and another girl who's been doing this for I think over 10 years, we both track our expenses every day, so that's a good thing you can do. Too spontaneous, inconsistent revenue, inconsistent savings, issues with time management and productivity. And I also like to add being stuck in I don't know, which is when you have too many choices and you end up not making a conscious decision to pursue any one of them. You could just kind of go with the flow and get swayed by people that you're around, or you hear a tip and you go somewhere. And I think that if you aren't clear on what you're looking for, then again, you won't know when you find it. So in sum, those are the main reasons why digital nomads fail. So make sure you're planning, you know yourself really well, you're budgeting and you're sticking to that budget, and you're clear on why you're doing this in the first place. I hope you guys like this video, and if you want more weekly digital nomad tips, make sure to subscribe below, give this video a like, and share it with one of your digital nomad friends. And I'll see you next time.